I think the story's been well documented of me being just a girl from a village, and that's really what I am. I'm, from Nanyuki, brought up in the hotel business. My parents were hoteliers, and that's probably where my love for people came, because we never really had a home. We lived in a hotel. So every night we had 30 people or so for dinner, and I thought that was normal. So I, grew up having people around me all the time, and I became a connector quite young. And that's really served me well in the profession that I now have, is being a connector. Quite often, I see PR people coming to me for interviews, and they're great writers, and they're very technically sound as far as PR people go, but they're not connectors. And that's really something that I think is so important, is being a connector, because PR is all about people. You're connecting to stakeholders, you're connecting to vendors, you're connecting to everybody, and it really does help if you like people. And I love people. I just have, I'm always talking, my children are always saying to me, okay, Mom, we're in a cab in London, I'm always asking the taxi driver about his life and his family, and I'm just very interested in people. So the human story has been very, very important to me. Going back to my own career, I have to say that it's not a career that I ever thought I would have. I was going to be a journalist. I was not very clever at school, not academically clever. Anyway, I was, not the sharpest knife in the drawer, as they say. Didn't really see A's, B's, saw a few C's, but mainly, I was probably CD around there. But I could write, and so I started writing quite young. I did journalism, and then came back and figured I was going to have my career in journalism. Came back, and newspapers, the media being what it was then, was not going to allow me to actually enter that space, because I was quite outspoken. I would probably write as I thought, and that wasn't really quite a good thing at that time. And so this opportunity came at Barclays, which was, they were going to go public. They had not had a PR person before, and they needed somebody to tell the Barclays story ahead of them going public. And they had this 9-month contract. And, it seemed like a good idea at the time. PR wasn't something that I'd ever thought about. But I kind of thought I could figure it out. I was 21. I kind of figured out I'd know what to do. And so I joined, and, it became a passion, it became my love, it became what I realized I was really good at. And I think in life it's those windows that we get, it's those opportunities that we get, that we can either step out and say I don't know anything about it, but I can try and make it work, or saying no, I don't know anything about it and not do it. But I decided I was going to try it, and I went, and very luckily for me, there was no benchmark, there was nobody before me, so I was able to create this role for myself, and I created it and carved it out, and was able to have the brand of Barclays out there, create the social responsibility platform that they have. There were just so many different areas. It was so exciting for a 21-year-old to be exposed to at that time. So that's basically where my passion or my love for PR came, was from that very short initial 9-month stint. And then it became, oh, well, would you stay another year, and then another year, and then very soon they said, oh, well, this role is always going to be there, so we'd like you to be permanent. And so I stayed. But it also became a matter of every year of me just getting more money, and because the role wasn't going to change. I was never going to be the CEO of Barclays. I was never going to grow outside of the box that I was in at Barclays. And I think that was the problem, is that I could have left Barclays for sure and gone on to a Kenya Airways, a breweries, or whoever else had that role at the time. And at that time, there weren't many companies with that role. But the job itself would have been pretty static. There was not much more that I was able to do, no matter for which company. So to be honest with you, leaving and setting up on my own was because I actually had nowhere else to go. I had nowhere else to grow within the organization, and I had nowhere else to grow within corporate Kenya. The only way that I could grow was to grow my own brand. And so, I started out on this journey 20 years ago with really no idea of where I was taking the brand. No idea. It's just I knew that I had to do something else. And you know, it's been this amazing, eventful journey, and it's been very successful. But it's also got me thinking about success and the importance of, you know, I think for a long time, one chases success. You know, we want to get all the accounts that we can, we want to get the awards, we want to win this account, we want to win that award, and we're continuously chasing success. But in the last couple of years, it's really got me thinking about, okay, now that I'm successful, what does that mean? You know, will success be there? Will that be, you know, will that be my legacy, that she was successful? I don't want that to be my legacy. I want to be significant. And so, you know, in the last few years, and I hope in, you know, in the years ahead of me, I'm on a journey to go from success to significance. And, you know, significance stays with you for a very long time. It stays with you forever. And I want to be significant, not just in Kenya and not just at the Gina Din Group. I want to be significant for Africa. I want to be significant for this continent. I want to tell the stories, the success stories of Africa, because too often we see the African narrative, the narrative that we're fed, which is of the kids with the distended bellies, with flies, conflict, poverty, corruption. I mean, you know, you name it, all the negative stuff, all the toxic stuff. And I want to be the person that changes that narrative. I want to tell the success stories of the wonderful, the warmth of the people, of the Africa Rising narrative. And I hope that one day, you know, a tiny part of that change narrative can come down to some of the work that we do here. I really hope so. And I hope that everybody that's watching can take part in shaping African conversations, because I really believe as Africans, we have that responsibility. If we don't tell our own story, somebody else is telling it for us. And it's not something that I think is a good idea. Why should anybody else set the African agenda? We're Africans. We need to set our own agenda. And we can do that by changing the narrative. It's a responsibility of you, it's a responsibility of me, and I hope together we can all shape the African conversation.